everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
Oh, it's live today, everybody, like it always is every week on Mondays around 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So when we start, we had a little bit of an early start, so we could start a little earlier than we normally do.
Heck yeah.
That's right. This show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using Super Chats. Ask a question or comment using Super Chats, and we will read it here on the show. There's a whole designated section of the show for that. Here's the way the show works. We're going to talk about some news or some other topical element from comics. Then we talk about our reviews, and then we cover the book of the week. That's the book that we believe to be the standout of the week from the books we've read, and then we read some super chats and answer all your questions or refer to your comments, and then we recommend things that are like coming out here on ComicPop and all the other places where ComicPop is available. That's which right. Is a lot. It's intense and varied. There's plenty of different places where you can get your ComicPop fix.
That's right. I'm just putting my phone over here. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about me.
No. Don't you worry about Blank.
Let me worry about Blank.
But yeah, so before we get started, we took a little detour today and swung by Newcomb Comics in Lambertville, New Jersey, which I only mentioned because we like going there because they have an extensive dollar comics section. In fact, the whole store practically is dollar comics and collectibles and toys and stuff like that. Those are not $1, but all the long boxes within the,
they're most
of them. There are quite a few that are like magazines and stuff. Those are
different. That's fine.
Different story. But also, they had half-price trades, and so we wanted to share with you a few of the trades that we got that were half price. I found this. I didn't realize they even made this collection. I have like another Ultimate Marvel team-up that is not all of these, and so I'm thrilled that we're going to have this, so I can continue to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man.
You got the death of Captain Stacy?
Yeah.
All right, why not?
Why not?
I saw
indeed.
this, and I thought of Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
X-Files meets 30 Days of Night.
Why not?
What?
That's fun.
Avengers Morgan Conquest.
Mm-hmm.
You know me. I like magic. I found this copy of Watchmen, which had none of the Black Freighter. Black Freighter in it. So I was like,
that's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. Why did they make it like that?
That's weird. We got Batman Other Realms.
Yes. We got this Joker book.
The Devil's Advocate.
Which I'd never heard of before. So I was like, all right.
This ridiculous handbook with out-of-date information.
Yeah. Well, it's a Marvel thing. So
look how big this is.
Yeah, it's like a phone book.
Why?
Which, for those of you who aren't familiar, back in the day, they used to print a portion of the internet and send it to your house.
Also got Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, an old...
This is like a novel, not like a book.
Yeah.
Robin, Tragedy, and Triumph.
Yes. This Robin book collects, I think it's the death of his mom and also like Robin 2, The Joker's Wild, which is why I wanted it, because I want to cover that one day.
Oh, nice. And you also got Supervillains Unite.
Yeah. It's all the supervillain team-up books.
Oh, look at them uniting.
Yeah.
Right there on the cover.
So that's fun.
Look at that. Oh.
Yeah. Looking forward to talking about those someday.
Heck yeah. Whoops.
We also got an extensive amount of floppies or single issues, of course, because those were the dollar comics. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's just a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Where's my little bag?
It's right here.
Oh, good. Thanks. I just want my little bag.
Yeah.
I just want my little bag.
That's fair.
I just want my comics.
Yeah. I got a number of Ann Nocenti Daredevils and some Batmans and some What Ifs, and yeah, I'm really excited to read these / cover them. I also filled out some of Tiffany's Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh, did you?
Yep, because you were missing a few of these. So
thank you.
Like you didn't have issues like 2 and 4 and 7.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, the early ones. I think it starts at like issue 9 for you. Yeah. Right.
I also remember they did that the Best Defense series?
Oh, yes.
I finally got all the floppies. I think I had it digitally.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was only 4.
I don't recall.
It was a Strange, Silver Surfer, Namor, and Hulk.
Yeah.
Written by like a bunch of great creators.
It's true.
Also, Greg Smallwood did the art for this, which I didn't realize it. I remember liking the art for the Doctor Strange one. And then you got Jason Latour on Silver Surfer, Chip Zdarsky and Carlos Magno on Namor, and Al Ewing and Simone DeMeo
on Hulk.
So interesting stuff.
That's cool. Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Right? But that's the thing about dollar comics. It affords you an opportunity to like test things out and try out the stuff you never heard of or discover stuff that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish that more, there's a lot of like comic talk makes their bones and being like, did you know? Or, hey, here's something you probably never heard of. And like they all could benefit from just going to a comic book store that has like a ton of dollar comics.
Have to do that.
Well, they never do that. But it would be cool if they did, because then they'd find all kinds of things. They'd be like, oh my God, like I've never even seen this before. And I bet my audience definitely hasn't, because they were all born in 2005. So, anyway, there you have it. So swing by Newcomb Comics in Lambertville if you want to get a whole truckload of dollar comics.
It's a fun store.
It is a fun store.
And it's always different. Like the inventory, they're constantly changing out inventory, which is nice because it's like sometimes in a place's dollar bins, like they don't really change over.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of changeover. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing is like going to like your local comic book store and they have like a dollar bin section and just seeing the same ones because they're like, look, we got this collection or this collection of collections from like, a dozen different people, and we're just trying to unload it. And so it's just like those dollar books will be there until they're gone.
Yeah. Yep.
But so that was fun. I also want to mention that Mr. Sunday Movies himself, James, came by the channel and we chatted about the DC Comics slate, among many other things, including Indiana Jones and stuff like that. So if you haven't already checked that episode, it's really fun. Go check that out. It's on this channel. In fact, if you want to see anything that we put out on this channel, you should probably subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. So, when we go either live or we release a new video. I try to release a podcast now every Sunday.
Heck yeah.
So hopefully you're around to check those out.
Yeah.
There's a ton of different books we can talk about today. I think I'll start with Wolverine because why not? Wolverine number 7 from Saladin Ahmed with art by Martin Kokolo. This is Wolverine fighting the Adamantine, and it turns out that he's actually being supported by none other than Romulus, the Wolverine architect from myth and legend and history, and also that awful story where he first appeared. The art's fun. The concept of there being like, because the adamantine is like where the word adamantium derives from. It's actually like it has biblical roots and it has like an actual history. Adamantium itself is like not real, but like adamantine is like what like Hercules's mace is made of in actual myth and legend. And so this seeks to bridge those gaps. And it's always been about that. The whole series, like all 7 issues, have been about Wolverine sloppily trying to help a teenage kid who is a Wendigo not be a Wendigo anymore. And I'm like, just taking a Doctor Strange. Like, what are you doing? Like, Wolverine got a cabin and he's like, you're not Wendigo anymore. I'm like, you are awful at this. No wonder your children hate you. But also anyone with adamantium in them has been like co-opted and corrupted and used to fight Wolverine. But Wolverine, he's special and stuff. So, Wolverine finds out that Romulus is behind it, and so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight you some more," and that's kind of the book. I mean, if you want to see Wolverine pop claws and stab people who have adamantium in them, this is the book for you. Unless you love those characters like Lady Deathstrike or Cyber. How do
the claws fit out of those little holes?
Well, they taper, unless they don't.
They're like really not tapered.
Well, that's because this cover is not, it's not exactly accurate.
I'm just saying.
That's why it would make more sense if it was the original Wolverine concept, which is the gloves are attached to the claws. Like the claws are a affectation that Wolverine puts on. They don't come out of his body. That would be ridiculous. Of course, they do. So, instead they just have to try and make it work.
Yeah, you just gotta really get that lined up.
Yeah, Lord knows. You don't want to slide the glove and then have them go, oh no, they're misaligned. That would be horrific.
Yeah, like are those little things also made out of adamantium? Because wouldn't it just slice through them as they were coming out?
Yes, they would. Because they're definitely not. Unless they are.
I've literally never thought about the gloves.
Well, sometimes they are. It's funny because like I remember him having like those little nubs occasionally on his forearms, but for the most part, it's just that they blast out of his flesh, and those things are more like guiders. Maybe like the
Yes.
they find their the channel.
Yes.
Maybe there's like an infinitesimal little notch where they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the track, and then they slide right out.
Perfect.
All I know is they looked and sounded great when they came out in the Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's
Yes.
like, wow, how did it take us this long to get there? But this book is fun. I'm not like I'm sold in as much as I keep reading the damn thing, but
right.
it's fine. You know, it's not like the coolest or the darkest or the most epic, but the art's serviceable / good.
Yes.
And the story is, it feels a little cyclical. Like it feels like, all right, yeah, I get it. But I'm not bored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not blown away.
Right.
But you know what? You don't have to all the time.
Right.
So, you know, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
That's Wolverine for you. What else we got?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What's this? Birds of Prey. All right. I'm not looking at them. Birds of Prey from Kelly Thompson. This series is still fun and good. This one has art by Juan Cabal. All right. So, you know, is this book getting boring? Kind of. But it's still fun. And all the characters are really great to see. You know, you got a lot of Barda teaming up with Cassie, and you have Black Canary who's dealing with her sister Sin. And like, I think that is the problem. Like, I never cared about Sin or the duality of the entity within her. I was sold because you promised me Barda and Batgirl and Black Canary and Barbara, whether it's Oracle or Batgirl, and any number. Oh, Zealot was in the book for a little while.
That's right.
You know, you promised me a whole bunch of characters that were all going to interact, who I've never seen interact before, and tackle these fun adventures. And you know what?
Yes.
They did. So I can't cry foul, and I won't. I wouldn't want to. I enjoy this series, and that's fine. But it does feel a little repetitive / played out. And I think it's only because I'm just not sold. I don't care about Sin. Like, okay. I just don't care.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's not Kelly's fault. I don't think, I think that this is the most effort anyone's put into getting this character to be introduced to a layman like myself and be interested in that character, or at the very least give me an entry point for this character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. And I never will.
Yeah.
And there's seemingly, and I'm assuming because it's Kelly Thompson, that nothing will get me to care then.
Okay.
But there's enough balance where it's still fun. And the art in this one, this isn't the regular artist on the series, but they do a nice job. So I'm not gonna demerit the book for that reason. Right. Do love this cover. I wish the book
That's what I was gonna say. I love this cover. Like, I feel like that's probably not what
it is.
Barda
it doesn't look anything like
no, I mean, like, that's not what I imagine Barda would look like. I mean, she's gorgeous, but I'm just saying, like, I don't even care. It's just it's a captivating cover.
It is. No, I love it. And I want more of it. And I want the book to look like this, and I understand it won't. But this was, and the cover's not a lie either, which is also very nice. You know, it is a lie in as much as it doesn't look like that inside, but all these characters appear.
Including all those bats?
Yes. Well, the bats are always implicit. If there's a bat character, there will be bats flying around, but it looks good. Okay. And it has ninjas in it. So, you know, no complaints.
Awesome.
But
what more could you ask for?
That's true. You know, that's a good point. And I can't argue with that. I also read Mothra, Queen of the Monsters.
Did you read this? I looked at this and I was like, I'm not going to read this, but I kind of wanted to. Why did you read this? Why?
Because I could. Why, Tiffany? Why did I read it?
Right past it.
Because I can. That's why.
Right past. Stop.
Because I can. But yeah, no, I read
I didn't know you were a big Mothra fan.
I'm not. This is, of course, written by Sophie Campbell with art by Matt Frank. This introduces you to Mothra as part of, I think, IDW's big old Godzilla interconnected universe. So it's like, here's the Mothra side of things.
Yeah.
We meet a pair of sisters who had initially helped to deal with to allow Mothra to fight Antra. There was a big massive battle that of course resulted in massive destruction. Mothra was felled, as well as and Antra reigned supreme and tore things up. And so one sister gets like jaded and kind of like recedes into herself and her desire to protect the people around her, and the other one goes more into the fanaticism of Mothra. And then when she's ready, she goes and the more religious based one, or Mothra based one, finds her older jaded sister and goes like, listen, we're going to go back in time and we're going to get an egg from prehistoric periods. We're going to resurrect Mothra, and maybe we can also resurrect our mom, like, because we have access to time travel.
Oh, you can't do that.
Well, we're going to find out.
I mean, wait, isn't going back in time to get the egg also going to like mess up the timeline?
Not if we go to like a period before the great comet destroyed everything, you know?
Yeah, but your mom's not going to be alive there.
No, well, on the way back, I'll swing
That's
by and
still
grab
gonna
mom.
mess up the timeline.
I've thought about this.
Oh boy.
Not about this specifically, but like
You've thought about Mothra?
Well, about time travel and resurrections, where it's like, if you take the person who died,
yes,
under mysterious circumstances, if she disappeared in the city, let's say that mom disappeared in the city.
Yeah.
She disappeared because we kidnapped her from the time stream and brought her to the future. As long as we don't bring her back before we, you know what I mean, before we drop her off, we'll be fine. Like, we get her after she's disappeared, or before we get her when she disappears. You know what I mean? Like, let's say she's crushed by a falling building, right? And we never find her again because the building atomized her.
Okay.
We grab her before the building falls. The building falls. Presumably, she dies.
But that's like very specific.
Yeah, like, I'm just saying.
Like, if you died of like natural causes,
well, that's tougher to pull off.
There's no tough about it. That's it.
Well, in this case, they might be able to pull it off.
Where's Ethan?
Well, he doesn't watch this show. But maybe I'll mention it on the Dorkly show.
Dare he?
But yeah. Anyway, you know how like there's like the two kids who like sing and Mothra does stuff.
Yeah.
In this one, Antra also has two kids who sing, and like Antra does stuff. So like the twins who sing meet each other at the end, and they're part of this whole like interconnected thing. It's very mystical.
And they fall in love.
No, they're children. So like it's
when they become besties.
Yeah, that'd be fine. They have sleepovers, braid each other's hair. It's cute. It's fun. The art is great. I loved it. And it was very
awesome.
Like, it's funny because you'd imagine Mothra, Queen of Monsters, like it has roots in Eastern, Japan. This doesn't look or feel very Japanese, but it does look and feel fun and youthful and modern.
Yeah.
And I dig it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it well enough. I don't know if I'm going to read more, but I read the first issue.
Wow.
But
well done.
you might enjoy it.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. You might.
Me?
Yeah. You of all people might enjoy.
I might enjoy that. I mean, I did enjoy Godzilla versus Justice League. Oh, when's the next one coming out? Isn't it like summer?
Oh yeah, they're doing another one.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Oh boy.
Let's see here. Did you read this?
I didn't. Okay.
Then what about this? We did that already.
Yeah, you already did that. Heck yeah, I read that.
All right. Here we go.
We got one for me.
And for the record, by the way, you do like Mothra. You're kind of.
I do. I think Mothra's fun. I don't listen.
You're not like a Mothra fan, but you do appreciate.
There are people
Mothra.
who are like Godzilla fans. Yes. I appreciate Godzilla.
Yeah, you appreciate Godzilla.
I have an appreciation of Godzilla.
You have a fascination. With the what do they call it?
The kaiju?
The kaiju?
Yeah, I do. I would say I do.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's just something about Mothra. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have just been an early exposure to it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, I read Moon Knight.
Of course.
Fist of Khonshu #6, written by Jed MacKay. This time with art by Domenico Carbone.
Yes.
Try that one out. Man, art's very different in this one, by the way. I believe it's definitely a different artist. I think. On it, but it's still good. It is just different though.
Yes.
But don't forget, in the last issue, Moon Knight got his butt kicked by Fairchild, who turned out to be an Asgardian drug dealer.
Right.
It's a lot. I just said a lot in one sentence.
You
didn't
did,
I?
But it's cool.
But that's what's happening. And Fairchild has this realization where he's like, "We're not going to kill him." And here's why.
Yeah, why not?
If we kill him, Khonshu is just going to bring him back, and then he's going to come get me.
That's fair.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna keep him somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Like Moon Knight is in a coma essentially.
Yeah.
And like stuffed in a trunk.
That's great. That's a smart move.
And you think to yourself, is Jed MacKay just gonna remove him from the book again? No, everybody, no, because Jed MacKay is like, I'm not gonna. We already did that. We did that already. We gave the team like
a whole thing where he died. I think it was called The Death of Moon Knight.
Yeah. No. Instead, Tigra has Hunter's Moon contact Khonshu, and then she just yells at him.
Right.
Like in the way that only Tiger can, which is great, where she's just, like, because he's like, this is how, like, daughter, this is how you treat your god. She's like, you're not my god.
Right. You're not my god.
That's not what it is. She mentions that she's like the sister to the tiger god. She brings up the fact that like they like together put their fangs around the neck of the phoenix, and that the phoenix beat your ass. So like,
yeah. So watch your ass.
so like, this is how I talk to a god, which I'm like,
Conscious like, fair enough.
yeah, okay.
All right. Sorry.
It's kind of hot. But
Yeah, I kind of dig that. I can see what Mark sees in you.
Yeah, no, she says like she appeals to him like where she's like, we both have like one thing in common. Like Mark drives us insane, but we both love him. So like, help me out here. And so he does.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mark has a conversation with Khonshu on the moon in his mind because he's like, you're in a coma,
right?
And he's like, cool. And essentially, Khonshu mentions that like he's like, no, you're not dead. He's like, oh, that might have been preferable,
right?
And Mark's like, how do you mean? And he's just like, because like every time you die, you get closer to like insanity, and then being like, entombed with the other ones that are like you that have lost their minds. And then I can pick up someone else. And like Mark's like,
screw you, man.
Like,
you brought me back from Blood Hunt. You don't want somebody else.
Yeah, no. And he's just like, no, man, like, no, I have like one good son and I have you. And like lately you've been bringing shame to my name. He's like, you went in there like with no plan. You went and fought this guy. He just tranched you. Why? Because you had no plan. What's wrong with you? And it's like literally adorable because it turns out it is very like father-son of the two of them. And so they're having this whole like in-depth conversation. Meanwhile, Tigra and Hunter's Moon and the rest of the fam, like all just
the Midnight Society or whatever they call themselves. The Midnight Mission.
The Midnight Mission.
That's it.
They are out for blood. They hop in their car van.
they take
a van basically, and they go get Mark back. And I love this because they're ambushed. They immediately take out one of the cars, and Fairchild is like, no, like stop the car. Let's go kick their butts. And his right hand person is like, we can't do that. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you and I aren't going to be able to take on two vampires, a different Moon Knight, and an Avenger. Like, back off.
Right. One of them's like, West Coast Avenger. I mean,
So they agree. They do recover Mark's body. They bring him back. He is alive. Like I said, he's very much in a coma. And Hunter's Moon is like, oh, cool. I'm just going to use
moon magic.
Moon. Yeah, exactly. To bring him or to heal him.
Okay.
It's going to require a sarcophagus. And so 8-Ball's there and he's just like, oh man.
Like, go get one?
I have to go get one.
Where the hell are you going to get a sarcophagus? Can a coffin
He's like,
do?
yes, no, you have to go get a sarcophagus.
I got to go to I got to rob a museum.
Soldier offers to help.
Oh, great. Well, thank you.
He's like, I'll give you a hand. Come on.
Well, we lost the van,
Come
though.
on,
How are we
buddy.
even going to get it?
Yeah.
How are we even going to move this thing?
Well, he's a vampire. It's fine. Vampire magic. Who cares?
All right. Fair enough.
Who cares?
I know.
But honestly, for me, like one of the best moments.
The standout.
The standout moment for me of this book is just Moon Knight and Khonshu sitting down on the moon together. Like literally sitting down on the moon, just chatting it up.
Yeah.
Before Mark's like, oh, I think they got me back. And he's like, yeah. Like,
in record time.
Yeah,
you have to procure a sarcophagus.
I know. Mark's like, well, we don't know how long he's been talking, but Mark's like, she's gonna kill me.
Oh, Tigra.
Yeah, and Khonshu's like, probably. She's rude.
She's very rude.
She's very rude to me. She doesn't have the decorum to speak to a god. I guess you guys have that in common. And it's sweet because Moon Knight leaves and he's just like, yeah, well,
bye.
I'll see ya. And as Mark leaves, Khonshu's goodbye, and he calls him his beloved son. And I was like,
oh,
he can't help it. He loves the troubled child.
Yeah, of course.
Mark and Tigra, of course, kind of have it out. They talk about, him keeping things from her. I appreciate the fact that McKay is writing Mark as a person who's like, I'm going to make changes, but a real person doesn't make them immediately. He struggles with it. He'll do it for a bit and then he kind of rolls back to it. And she's like, you have to stop that.
Right.
They talk about the Hank Pym of it all and why he did what he did, why he didn't tell
Which
her.
I'm completely in the dark about. I have no idea what the hell Pym's doing right now.
But it's more or less about the fact that he didn't tell her. That's what she's really upset about. And he explains why, that it's just if I told you, then you would have potentially gotten you just wouldn't have been focused.
Right.
And I didn't want to lose you.
Okay, fair enough.
So they have a nice little hug. and they realize they got to go after Fairchild, and this time they're gonna be smart about it.
Right.
So
Yeah, fighting Asgardian. Yeah.
Yeah. So dope. Here
cool.
we go.
All right. Another solid issue of Moon Knight.
Admittedly, the cover for the next issue makes it seem like maybe 8-Ball is going to be a problem, but maybe that's a ruse. Maybe that's how they're going to be smart about it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to think too much into it. It's just, this is such a consistent series that like at times with an issue like this, which is like maybe a little less like bombastic. Yeah. Yes. Like, oh no, what's going to happen to Mark? Like what's going to happen with Moon Knight? Oh, they're just going to get him back and it's fine. That you might not like hone in on some of the like finer points of it where it's just like, this was a lot of talking. But it's good to see Mark making connections again with Tigra, just to see where their relationship lies. Obviously, Jed MacKay really cares about that relationship. But also he seems to have a fascination with the relationship that Mark has with Khonshu. And like obviously 9 times out of 10, I think most people when thinking of Khonshu think he's just a dick. And I'm not saying he's not, but it is fun to see MacKay playing with the dynamic of this like father-son role. Because I don't really, I mean, like, Mark has called him father or stuff like that, but it's like you don't necessarily,
they don't really sell it that way.
They don't sell it, right? But this moment, like these moments really did sell it for me. But I really dig it. I would love to see Thor show up in this to clean this up, or any of the more famous Asgardians like roll up and be like, yo, we've been looking for you.
It'd be so great if it wasn't Thor, it was like Volstagg.
So
like, oh, here comes Thor, and it's like it's just Volstagg. And he's like, yeah, but I'm still a badass.
I mean, I'll sit on you. I don't care.
I'll sit on you. It's like my special move.
But this is just, again, like it's just been such a like solid series in every iteration that it has had. Since
Jed MacKay took
over. And it's one of those things where it's like people are like, where do I start? It's like, just like, I hate to say it, start at the beginning, but only not because it's like you're gonna miss out on like information. More or less like I think you'll just enjoy it. I think you're just gonna have fun.
You might finally like love Moon Knight.
And it's easy. It's easy to do that. Like MacKay makes it easy, and not in a way where he's talking down to you or he's like super simplifying story. He just has like a really charismatic way of writing these characters, even when they're not charismatic. And he has like a really strong way of making you feel like you get the history of Moon Knight without having to know the history of Moon Knight. So it's like, it's a great opportunity. And honestly, in a world or in a world, and also on a show that we often critique creators for creating too many new characters seeming out of nowhere, the ones that MacKay has brought to the table have been fairly consistent. He's brought them to the table and not just thrown them away. Like they have become part of like this Moon Knight group.
Well, I think it's easier with Moon Knight because he's more of a niche character, and because like he can be so many different things. That it allows you to go like, oh well, this is the period when Moon Knight had this mission and he had these people and his group that he worked with and stuff like that. So that if they were to do a relaunch, Jed MacKay leaves. You could do Moon Knight by himself.
100%.
Moonlight with Marlene again.
100%. Additionally, the new characters, I was talking with you about this today, that I was like, it's interesting. Like, obviously we have Reese and Soldier and Hunter's Moon, but then you pair it up with like characters that have existed. So it's like kind of half and half almost. So
like I wonder if we would have complained during the Tynion run of Batman if he also, of all the characters he introduced, if it weren't for the fact that, what if he also paired them with someone? It's like, oh, here's Miracle Molly, but also, like Bane joins the team, or like Azrael's back, or any character that isn't from only 1993. Like just any number of Bat family. Batgirl joins the squad.
Absolutely,
for a little while,
and it also isn't like when those new characters showed up. Like, yes, there were stories that focused on them, but it wasn't like the whole series hit the brakes so that they could be the standout.
Yes, which is a problem.
It's just been very interesting and a really well handled series.
Well, speaking of well-handled series, I read Storm number 6 from Marewa Ayodele and art by Luciano Vecchio. Great art from Vecchio. Again, consistent storytelling and characterization from Ayodele. Storm is kind of a god right now, and Xavier has escaped from the Grey-Malkin prison where they've converted the Xavier Institute into a prison just for mutants. And he's on the run, and he goes to Aurora for help, and the X-Men show up to claim him because that's what the X-Men is now, except for that one period that Marvel doesn't want to refer to ever again.
Uh-huh.
Although Xavier does wear his Krakoa like suit / helmet.
Okay.
I'm like, are you collecting people? Like, is that still on? Like, is it recording everyone? Just in case, because in the book they also talk about how the resurrections are over. Dead is dead. There can never do that ever again. That's over. And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, there's no what? No, okay.
Oh, was there a sequence where like they killed all the 5, or that the 5 can't work like that? Or did we forget the fact that like that Hickman invented that like mutant circuit concept, which is that like other characters can literally be connected and that they actually were there all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
But that's brief word for you. But like, yeah, so this is a mixed bag because it's towing the line. It also is part of an event called X Manhunt, which also was a big drag because Storm is great and has been a fantastic series and did not deserve to be dragged into this crap. Because like, I didn't realize that Spider-Man was an X Manhunt. I know it isn't, but like this exact team was just in another Spider-Man book.
Yes.
The Dot Deaths issue.
Yes. Okay.
And like, so yeah, I'm like sick of it. Like, I'm not buying X-Men. Stop it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not buying that book.
Yeah.
And Brevoort's like, yes, you are.
No.
Because if you aren't, then I'll make sure that you're at least buying a book where they're all in it. And I'm like, that combo is part of the reason why I'm not buying it, right?
Right.
So that's just going to sour me on buying any book that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I hate Cyclops or anything, but I'm not down. I'm not here for this.
Yeah.
There are some great moments, Storm and Xavier talking, and they kind of address the fact that like Storm and Xavier have like a long and storied and strong history, but also we need them to go in other directions.
Right. What's really interesting about this Xavier on the run thing? Considering how much Marvel seemed to really be vibing on the X-Men 97 of it all.
Right. Like,
why didn't he just go to the Shi'ar?
Right.
I'm sure that wouldn't really work.
Maybe they'll show up later.
I just can't believe that it wouldn't be like, we need Xavier to go away for a bit. Shi'ar?
No, because we want him to be a MacGuffin. Like, we want people to like chase him and go after him and like him to continue to be morally gray.
Yeah.
Also, Maggot is in the book because why not? And I'm like, all right. I mean, like,
sure.
I'm sure that there's like,
but don't you miss like, okay, so for me, like part of the special sauce that was Krakoa was that like,
oh no, another character.
When a random character showed up, it was like, it makes sense.
Yeah. And Maggot being in this, I'm like, all right, it doesn't really, at least it didn't seem like it seemed kind of out of the blue, no pun intended. Right. But like, Storm's working with Maggot right now.
Yeah.
And I guess also she has made him a god too, because she can like barf up eggs they eat them and then they're eggs.
The Shi'ar are in part one of X.
There we go.
All right. Maybe they are going to do
cool.
I'm honestly not reading it. I think
we were reading X-Force and Storm.
Yeah, I'm kind of taking a little break. I'm taking a breather from some X books, but that's fine because between Ultimate and Absolute, I got plenty.
Yeah, exactly. Storm fights the X-Men. Storm beats the X-Men. Like, it's just. I love this book, and this is not a good example of why. Yeah. Because it's, sidelined into a thing that I didn't even know existed.
And that's interesting because that's like kind of what happened with Excalibur.
Yes.
When that was coming out. Or no, sorry, not Excalibur.
Oh no.
No, I'm thinking of Sword.
Oh yeah,
when Sword came out and it got like
Sword was in every event.
No, but I mean, like it showed up and like it had like 1 or 2 issues, and then it got dragged into
King and Black
event, and I was like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Just because it's like you want to see the creative team like stick with their momentum.
Yeah, and what they want to tell, like the story that they're telling. Ayodele does keep his story. Like that story is still at the fore.
Yes.
But you do need to have a silly slap fight in here. But it also services the role that Storm is in right now. So it works.
Right. But it's just like, it's interesting because it's like, I understand when they do this, but like, you know what they want to do is they want to get you to buy other.
They
want
you
to try to sample it. They want to get you over there. It's like, listen, if you grab the first one of Manhunt, you want to go out and you're going to grab the other ones of Manhunt. But if you're only reading the one book, then it is a little like hitting the brakes, and it's just kind of rough. Like if you were just only vibing on that. One story.
Well, and like I'm an old school fan. Like I'm not gonna buy it. Like you're not gonna get me.
Yes.
So but it's a good book. I do dig it.
Yeah.
This issue is not great.
Yeah, you know what I think it is for me? I often, not always, but often do prefer when they do an event to have the event take place in books that are for the event.
I prefer that as well.
Right?
Yeah. But moving on to happier stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. More fun, crazy stuff. Batman Full Moon.
Yeah.
Issue 4 of 4 from Rodney Barnes and Steven Subic. This you've been championing since issue 1.
Yeah, what a weird book. And I say that in the, like, knowing how this ends, we're not going to tell you what happens at the end, but I will say what I am surprised by, which may or may not be a spoiler for you.
Yeah.
Is it has a happy ending, which I just didn't honestly see coming.
No, I didn't see it coming at all. And I was like surprised and almost not disappointed, but I was more like, really?
Yeah.
But like it didn't, that was not where this was going. Like the book didn't seem like it was leading towards a happy ending.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially 2/3 of the way through this issue.
Yes. And I'm not upset by this. I'm just saying, like, my brain, I was like, when it was over, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I was like, oh boy, because it's a Black Label book. It doesn't have to stay in continuity. You can do anything with it, right? But yeah, what a wild book. I know for a lot of folk, they were not feeling the tone that Barnes was writing Bruce or Batman in. For me, I enjoyed it only because it was so very different.
And that's like all the highest marks. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. But it's, this book is doing everything with the concept of Black Label or Elseworlds that we have been asking for since its inception.
Absolutely.
Even if it stumbles at times.
Yeah.
But it's working so effectively.
Right. And that's really what it is. Is like, this is a reminder to everybody. If you were picking this up, if you picked up issue 1 and you're like, ooh, this doesn't really fit in with what Batman is doing in terms of like his personality right now within regular comics. But it's a reminder that Black Label is an opportunity for creators to do something different that doesn't have to sit within that continuity, right? Like every time a writer takes on a character, they're going to bring a little something different to the table, but often the personality like generally stays the same. But this Bruce Wayne, this Batman is quite different.
Yes.
And almost like it's weird because this obviously there's a little bit of a message there about the haves and the have-nots, which I kind of appreciate. Right? Like it's like
it surprised me because I was like, was that what this is about? Like they referenced it in this issue, but I was like,
I don't think
does that correlate with issues 1 through 3?
We do see it mentioned, and
right.
it's just, it's been like threaded throughout. So it's like here's going on over here, right? Here's like a little lesson for Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Right. And also there's werewolves. So it's like
and it's mostly about werewolves, by the way.
Right. And what I really think is interesting about this book is that I weirdly feel like this is more like a Batman in a more real world, but also there's werewolves in it. So like
magic and magic users, and also all of Batman's history is part of it. So
I know, but this version of Gotham, the people who live in Gotham, they just feel like real people.
Yeah, they do.
You know, and Bruce Wayne, the way he handles things, he feels a little more real,
more fleshed out. Certainly, he seems more like a person.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Constantine, I'm not gonna lie, he is a bastard in this, but it's definitely, you can tell an American writing it, and there's just always a different feel when an American, I feel like, writes Constantine versus when a Brit writes Constantine.
Or at the very least, it's not Vertigo Constantine.
Sure.
I don't know actually if Rodney Barnes is English or American. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Right.
That's fair. I don't know that.
Because the other thing is like Tom Taylor's Constantine is, well, I think it's when it's in continuity DC stuff, it's Constantine, and when it's
sure, that's fair. Yeah, I guess you're right. I actually don't know that.
But like Tom Taylor's Australian, and his Constantine sucks too. So it's like
so no. But anyway, but like even he, like they're just, everybody feels a little more like this is kind of a more realistic version of these characters. but then you also have, like I said, werewolves. So it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like a strange juxtaposition, and there's something about it though where it all comes together, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with Subik's art as well.
Oh yeah, no.
Because it's like there's like a ton of panel work going on here. Like there's a
A
lot
lot of heavy lifting for a 4th issue. Feels like maybe there should have been 5.
Maybe, but I mean, like, it's just there's a lot of panel breakdowns. But I think the reason for that is because Subik really seems to love the big splash page, like loves a really big splash page.
Yeah.
And if you have that, obviously you're gonna have to make up that panel work elsewhere.
Yep, but like,
when you
so
get
worth
to
it.
them, they're phenomenal. Like, they're just really, really phenomenal. They're moody and they're fun, and it gives you a moment.
Scary.
And it gives you a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's very important in pacing, is to have that moment to breathe. And I like just such a wild book.
It is
a wild, weird book. I don't actually know if I agree with the lesson in terms of lycanthropy or our main werewolf character.
No.
But you know what? Like, not, I mean, yes, it has a happy ending, but maybe it doesn't have a happy ending in the way that you traditionally think of one.
Sure.
But there's a lot of interesting ideas here. And for me, what I really appreciate the most about this book, again, it's just a different look at Batman. If you're gonna have all these Black Label books that are about Batman, do something different with them.
Yeah.
And that's certainly what this is. But I also do understand that this may not be everyone's cup of tea.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same Batman or same tone of a Batman book that you read normally month to month. This is and should be worthy of celebration because it dares to be different. It dares to be itself.
Yes.
And it is so authentically itself that it's probably to its detriment. And I wish there were more of them because it also allows for more opportunities to do stuff like this or more things that maybe speak to your sensibilities if this wasn't your cup of tea.
Right.
But it is so effectively what it sells. It's a Black Label Batman book about werewolves.
Exactly.
And it's dark and gritty, and the color palette is exactly what you'd want from a comic book.
Yes.
Because you could do like a, not now, but like, a Greg Capullo drawn, dope looking werewolf book. And it could have a bunch of monsters in it. Frankenstein could team up with Batman. You could do any number of like superhero kind of thing.
Yes.
But that's not what this is. This is what should have always been like Black Label or Legends of the Dark Knight, like where it's like, here is something different. Here's Barnes' interpretation of a werewolf story by way of Batman.
Yep.
And it's so successful that even when it doesn't quite work, it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like what I've really dug about this book is the cover scheme.
Oh yeah.
Because the cover scheme's on all black and white the entire time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just so impressed by that.
Yep.
Like that's like, not something that everybody would like be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Oh no. And the fact that it even glowed in the dark was super fun too.
Does it?
The first issue did it,
oh,
at least.
Okay.
I don't know about the whole series. I haven't ever actually seen it on the rack.
No, because I have it digital.
Yeah.
I have the first issue.
We do have the first issue, and that glows in the dark.
Yes.
But yeah. Let's see here. I guess it's time to talk about this thing.
Okay, let's do
which I didn't read, so I can't speak to it, but you can at length, I'm sure.
Honestly, and that's I'm gonna try and keep it trim, folks.
We'll see.
Let's try and keep it trim because the fact is, I only read a few books because I knew I was going to talk about this a bunch. I have it here. I wrote my notes on this one. I don't need your digital wizardry here. I've got my own digital wizardry. I read Doctor Strange of Asgard by Derek Landy with art by Carlos Magno. So let's chat about this. And okay, so it's been a while since we've had a Doctor Strange series. Not that long. It's been a bit. Jed MacKay was writing a bunch of the last we've seen of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And he left that book and we knew that was coming. And we ended up, but I was like, all right, that's fine. Maybe we'll just do like little
vignettes, mini series of Doctor Strange.
But
no,
we didn't get that. So if you want to just know my quick and dirty thoughts about it, it's
harmless.
No, I wouldn't say it's harmless, and I'll explain why later. It's just very okay,
right
there it is.
It exists.
It's like there it is.
Someone got what they wanted.
There's a book. I want to point out a couple of things. One, I saw like something online, an interview with Landy, in which he mentioned like how daunting it is to take on Strange, and that it was like kind of terrifying to leap into it. But like, luckily, their editor gave them the instruction to move him to Asgard, and it was that paired with what we've heard about Spider-Man that made me feel like, are we entering into the era at Marvel of editor's choice? Because it's like, I understand at times folks giving general vibes, but like often it really should be the writer who's like, hey,
here's my story.
And maybe it really was just like a general suggestion. I don't know, but like, I thought that was very interesting.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what happens in this book. Stephen goes to Asgard, seemingly,
as is the book,
seemingly because of the fact that he's just like, here's what I'm going to do. In order to get back my position of Sorcerer Supreme, I need to go become Sorcerer Supreme of someplace else. So I'm going to do that over there. And I recognize the fact that Asgard hasn't had a Sorcerer Supreme; they've had a Skald, and that's fine. I'm gonna pitch this. I'm gonna pitch this to Thor.
To Thor, okay, yeah.
Goes to Thor. Talk about the Skald thing, and then he's like, I want you to go talk to Hulda. They're like our magical like guru right now.
Okay.
And there's a new character.
Oh,
and that's fine.
Story. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So go talk to them. Do you want to stay in the palace? You're totally welcome to that. And Strange is like, no, because what I have to do, I gotta get my hands dirty. Probably shouldn't do that. So Thor's like, all right, bye.
Right, I don't care anymore.
And it's like Steve's like, probably should have like, I don't know,
asked for
money or like a recommendation on where to go. Wanders the streets where he very quickly runs into two guys beating up another guy. Two Asgardians beating up another Asgardian, right? But like, not like, any known Asgardians, just folks.
Just some folk who live there, yeah.
Just some folk. And Strange steps in to try to help. And obviously they're not that much bigger than he is, but they're Asgardians. So
they're going to be tougher at least.
Yeah, exactly. And so, he attempts and then uses magic and defeats them and saves the guy. And the guy's like, hi, my name's Holt. Takes him to a tavern, buys him a drink. Holt turns out to be our writer.
Oh.
And what Holt asks is like, hey, do you guys still have TV? Because like, he remembers when Asgard was like floating over.
Oh yeah, Broxton, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, I loved TV, like television, like American television. I thought it was great. And he pitches that he likes writing comedy and he wants to pair it with romance.
Okay. All right. This Asgardian got went native, so to speak, when he was had his time in Asgard on Earth, and wants to bring that energy to what?
Yeah. So it's like, I assumed that this character was going to be coming with us, and in this issue, that does not happen. I don't know why we're there, and I don't understand why Holt A exists, or B, if you were such a fan of TV that you didn't know what a rom-com was, because it gives Strange an opportunity to be like, oh, you want to do a rom? He's like, I was calling them something else. And I'm like, what am I doing in this book? Anyway.
So maybe George needed to move the car.
I think maybe that might have been what it is. But Holt does get him a room at the tavern.
Oh, there we
We do have to have like a bit of business about there. Everything has a bit of business. There's so much bit of business.
There's always a bit of business.
There's a bit of business going on with everything, where like he asks like the tavern wench, like, hey, like, is that room still available? No, money is no object. And she's like, she's like, oh, the one that like the person died in, sure, but it's an and I'm like, well, okay.
Everything's zippy. Everyone's funny.
Cool. Everybody, there they go. Steve goes to his room. There's a knock at the door. There's a different guy there.
Okay, not Holt.
Not Holt. New guy.
Is he also hilarious?
Aslak. Yeah, he's fine. He's essentially like the Rintra of Hulda. It's like an apprentice, right? Shows up, mild-mannered, nice guy. They're wandering through. Steve puts on a coat so that he can have
so he can look
new outfit.
Yep.
New outfit.
New Marvel Legends figure.
And off they go. And oh no, that's right. I'm sorry. He asks about television. I'm wrong. Holt doesn't. I am incorrect
Holt
about
is still
that.
Hilarious.
Holt does want to write rom-coms. Okay, but I take back my why doesn't he know about rom-com?
Two different conversations about like from two different humans or from different people?
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Like, I forgot. Holt actually just talks about writing stories.
Okay, so Holt is a storyteller.
Yes, he's just a simple storyteller. There's a different thing about television.
Oh, okay.
Two different characters talking about two different media. I apologize.
Fair enough.
I take that one. That's on me.
Okay.
Anyway, Aslak takes him through part of the city where we run into a man and a woman. They're arm wrestling at their feet. There's like a bunch of bodies of like people who have been arm wrestled into unconscious.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I've seen that scene before.
Okay. And she ends up losing and then like kicks the guy in his Asgardian
gear.
Yes.
Okay.
And she kisses Aslak because, like, you know, like he seems to be a mannered sorcerer, but like, he's won the favor of this like warrior woman.
Okay, all right.
She's like, you got to go become a big, awesome sorcerer.
Who are these people? Like what? Where's Doc? Why does Doctor Strange care about these characters? What are they doing?
That's Ruskov and Grom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Strange.
So I was just like, wait, I don't care. Who are these people?
Strange makes it to Hulda.
All right, great.
Where Hulda's like, hey, remember that Yggdrasil staff? Give it here.
Vaguely.
Yeah, I remember, when he got magical godhood for a hot second by taking a branch of Yggdrasil by like making like an offering.
Oh yeah,
he's still at the staff. So he's like, fair enough, and she's like, that's fine.
Is she the sorceress? She's the person who has the job he wants.
No, she doesn't have the job he wants. He's gonna make his own position.
Oh,
he's pitching a position.
Oh,
he's like, I'm thinking.
That's bold.
I'm thinking you guys need some help balancing magic here. And it's like Asgard has existed for quite a while without needing this, but fine, whatever.
But he's doing this so that he could be Sorcerer Supreme of Earth. Who's going to be Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard when he quits?
Well, they don't really need it, so it's fine.
But if they don't need it, then they don't need to give it to him.
They'll take a page out of every like large firm ever or anything like that. Like after he leaves, they'll just break up his job and people can absorb it for no more pay.
Yes, exactly. I love that. That sounds very contemporary.
Exactly. So nobody said this. I'm making this up.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. No one will pay attention to it after it's over.
Yeah. So as like Strange is chatting with Hulda, he's like, here's what I'm thinking. And she's like, I'm a little worried about how reliant you are on magical items, your cape, you wear the Eye of Agamotto around your neck, or you used to, you know what I mean? Like all sorts of things that you have. And she's like, you really should just be able to conjure the magic on your own.
Am I? Is that how it works now?
But that's fine. That's when Loki shows up.
Oh, former Sorcerer Supreme himself.
Yeah, he sneaks on in. He's been banished. But Sorcerer Supreme of Earth.
Right.
Not here.
Where's Clea?
Yo, there is
a main character.
There is no addressing of that. It's never addressed.
Never
explained in this issue. So Loki shows up. It is kind of like, I heard you were here. I had to see this. Also, I fully support this man in his endeavors. Strange is like,
why?
What? And he's like, no, it's cool. Like, yeah, we didn't need one, but like, that'd be neat.
And the other person's like, what?
Yeah. Like, let's just, why not? That's great. That'll be fun. Who cares, right?
Why?
I don't know. And so inevitably, Hulda's like, all right, maybe, but like, how do we like make this happen? Like I said, without the magical, like without you relying on that, like you have to learn like our magics. And, you kind of need to the magics of Earth, like inhabit your body, but not the magic of Asgard.
Why?
Right? Because that's what they're saying in this. And so like Loki suggests that they use the spell of Akranon.
Okay.
That would allow that to happen. And she's like, all right. Yeah. And Steven's like, I've heard of this spell. Yeah. You know what? I'm sure something bad's going to happen, but let's give, I think it'll be okay. Let's give it a shot. So they kind of all agree on it. And that's like when Loki just stabs Hulda through the heart.
Jesus, what?
Like just like wham.
Okay.
And goes to stab her again, but the blade breaks. Steven uses magic and to stop him, and
Even
then
though it's in his body or whatever.
And then Loki's like, I didn't want to do that. That wasn't me. You gotta believe me. I didn't want to do this.
Oh no! So Loki may have been possessed, and there's a mystery afoot,
or something else, right? And then he poofs away, and Strange is left holding her body as like Aslak shows back up, and I'm like,
so what it looks like is that Strange goes to this one person whose job he kind of wants, and he murders her, and now he's gonna be on the run. So it'll be like Strange Asgardian fugitive.
Maybe, I don't know. Here's the thing.
Okay, there's a lot of ideas going on.
There's a lot going on here. Here's the thing. I obviously you can, like you see in the preview, it looks like it might be like Strange
and Loki
working together. It's like, oh, that's Prince Mike.
Because that would be a great movie.
Bingo. But I got a bunch of thoughts here. One, like you said, Clea, not even mentioned. Not even mentioned here. And what?
Mm-hmm.
Two, the Vishanti.
Yeah, well, if you are a like big time fan of Doctor Strange, you know the lore behind the Sorcerer Supreme. At the very least, if you're like Brian Michael Bendis and you read 3 Doctor Strange books in your life, one of them was Triumph and Torment, which does firmly establish the fact that like in order to get Sorcerer Supreme status,
you got the Vishanti. There's like either like you are.
Well, who are they anyway?
The Vishanti is like a tribunal of
magical elder gods.
It's Agamotto, whose eye Strange has.
Yes.
Ashtor, who like created Agamotto, and then Hoggoth, the tiger god,
whose hoary hosts
are often called upon. But yeah, they're kind of like the like the final deciding factor on the like Sorcerer Supremedom.
Right. In fact, Doctor Doom challenged Strange's Sorcerer Supreme hood and appealed to the Vishanti.
Yeah.
But apparently, all you need to do is like make a deal with the Sorcerer Supreme in order to get it.
Yeah. So
he doesn't have to go through a trial. That's part of the trial of the Triumph and Torment.
Right. I mean, like Strange like bequeaths it, right? And so what might have happened is like if he gone to talk to the Vishanti might have been like, you gave it to Doom, and your only way of getting it back was that you trusted him to do it. Now you don't deserve it right now.
Yeah,
Steven.
You're an idiot. That'd be fun.
Now, see, I feel like if this book had opened with him talking to the Vishanti were like, no, you're gonna have to go on like an Asgardian walkabout in order to figure this out.
You're gonna have to leave Earth to do this.
If your one note is he has to go to Asgard, like use the for those of us
know the lore.
Yeah, well, for those of us who care about that type of thing, like bring that up, or like have him leave Clea being like, listen. Like, I know we just kind of got back.
I know that you were Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, and I left because I died.
I died, and then I came back, right? And then I got it back, and like you're still Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension. And then like there was the whole blood hunt thing. And I know we're just getting back to normalcy, but the fact is, I gotta go do this.
Right, I have to leave. I have to do my own book,
and that sucks.
Yes,
but sorry. So anyway, yeah. Also, we just did a murder mystery where Doctor Strange was the victim and Doctor Strange helped to solve his own murder. But let's do another one.
Let's do another one where Doctor Strange is to solve a murder.
Additionally, in this, it's really sort of like out of place. The fact that a lot of the Asgardians keep emphasizing the fact that like Strange has a wizard's beard. But he just has a mustache.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like an Asgardian thing where they're just like any facial hair is a beard. And listen, I don't want to culturally correct them.
Yeah.
But I do want to note that I'm like, it was just weirdly emphasized throughout this book. So there's also an elephant in the room for me.
Okay.
And that is the fact that it's like, I don't necessarily like, I'm not the kind of person who's like, I need an answer at all times for every single thing. But at this point, I feel like we need to maybe establish like, are you the Sorcerer Supreme of a planet? Are you the Sorcerer Supreme of a system? Are you the Sorcerer Supreme of a dimension? Like,
right.
What are
the boundaries of the Sorcerer Supreme? Right. Like, because Clea technically was like the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension or something. Yes. So it's like, okay, so dimensions then. All right. Is Asgard a realm or dimension or both?
Right. And that's the other thing, right? Because like if you're going with MCU, then they just use dimension and realm interchangeably.
Right.
But we're not. We're talking about the comics, right? And in theory, like a dimension should be a big thing and a realm should be a part of a dimension. So I'm just kind of like,
yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
I feel like
that's the job of an editor.
This is like one of those things where like only time will tell if this is going to end up making any kind of sense, which is really with any book. And so I feel like it's kind of a cop out.
It's fair to say that won't. Like I think it's fair to say that what you see is what you get. Like
probably
that, like because there was a comment earlier that kind of like really sold what I know to be the history of this book. Like what I can already feel what this book is going to be. It's not going to have any relevance in a year. And it will never be anyone's favorite Doctor Strange run.
Right.
But as it is coming out, there will be like no one cares enough to hate it. But there will be people who go, come on.
No, okay, so hang on. Like I got two more things. One, I need to talk about the art, Carlos Magno, which is funny because I realized that Carlos Magno is actually on the Namor book.
Yes.
And
it's pretty good.
The Namor one?
Yeah.
It's fine. No, not the current Namor book. I mean, the Namor book I bought. The best defense book.
Yes, the best defense book, yeah.
So, like, the art in this book is fine most of the time. And often it's just not very strong. Okay. Especially in terms of, like, certain facial expressions. Like, they are, at times, out of place. And there's a few anatomy mistakes or stiff gestures, right? And there's a lot of shadows and there's a lot of heavy shadows, which can be a hallmark of the type of book where it's like either to be more serious or more highbrow.
It certainly looks cinematic. I will say
it's supposed to have that, but like I feel like the heavy shadows are there to actually hide more mistakes than it is to give that breadth to it, like that depth. And it's just like that paired with a story for me that was just kind of like what are you doing with this? This is kind of like, it just makes it like this kind of like middling story. And that may be my biggest issue with this book is that like this story is entirely middle of the road. Right. And in a vacuum of Doctor Strange content, it's going to be really, really easy for people to tout this as amazing simply because it exists. Right. Not because
and it's different and I don't have to know all this crap. Like you just said all this stuff about Vince Shanty and stuff. See, this is why I want Doctor Strange of Asgard. So I don't have to worry about or know any of that crap.
And I understand that. I understand like wanting to feel like I'm
getting in on the ground floor.
Yeah, which is what I felt about Moon Knight. But like Jed McCabe managed to handle the balance between someone like me who's just jumping on Moon Knight maybe for the first time. And also I think pepper in lore.
Yeah.
To do homage, right? But yeah, like I'm not saying I'm not going to give this another shot. I think it has a lot of work to do. And even though I know it's magic, that like some of this needs to make some kind of sense. So it's like this one was like a rough sell for me, right? And it felt, and I'm trying to separate myself from this concept, but it felt a little bit like the Wade run, which I really didn't love.
Right, which is
like, I don't understand.
Get Doctor Strange off Earth, get him someplace new, give us a new status quo. Because I've never, and that's why I like felt kind of, you know, Nostradamus about it. Where I'm like, well, because we've seen this before with like an author that either people love or don't know. Wade, everyone knows, but like. Wade is not a good Doctor Strange writer, just like he's not a good Spider-Man writer. Yeah. You know, that Wade is good at the characters he likes, and that's it. Yeah. But like that run, poof. Like, does anyone remember or care about like when he went to space?
People randomly will like remember it and bring it up. But it's just like it just feels like sometimes they don't know what to do with the character. And I hate to say it because I obviously want more Doctor Strange stories, but if you don't know what to do with the character, it's okay to not do anything with it. And like I know to them it's like, but you're just leaving money on the table. And it's like,
you're Marvel, you do that all the time.
Are you diluting the brand?
Right. Or are you confusing the narrative?
Yeah, like Doctor Strange is the kind of character who like fans of him should be excited when he shows up.
And not like,
oh, what are you
doing?
Not
dreading what they're going to do with him. But yeah, because the editorial don't care. Like, they're not. Doctor Strange for them is a brand. I mean, they're all toys.
I know.
But for editorial, like they're super I don't know, covetous is the right word, but they're very careful.
Right.
Or not with Spider-Man.
Yes.
It's either a kid with a toy or an adult with a toy. With Doctor Strange, they're like, just get it out. Like, look, Doctor Strange is going to show up in one of these freaking movies soon. Just put him in the thing.
Sure. And I'm not
out.
saying they shouldn't try new things. And I'm not saying Doctor Strange shouldn't have gone to Asgard. I just feel like there was, And I'm not the writer of this, and I'm not a writer, but like I just feel like there could have been a better reason for this to happen, and something that maybe tethers it a little bit more to what's been going on. But maybe they didn't want to do that. Maybe in their minds are like, no, we're going to tell a story that
so different
is
from what was
like
happening.
It can be like something that you just pick up, except that you have tethered it to the fact that he doesn't have the Sorcerer Supreme title.
But yeah,
so
just like in the movies. See? Actually, it's better.
Nope. So anyway, that's me, and that's how I feel about this, and that's why I didn't go overboard on being like, here are the books I'm going to present today, because I knew this is going to become like a 20-minute conversation, because I'm just like, I really went into this with an open heart. I was like, I don't know about this. We're going to try it out. I'm not going to like go into it thinking one way or another. Within the first couple of pages, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I also read a Marvel book this week, and that book is coming up soon. Here it is.
There, you found it.
Yep.
He did it.
It's The Ultimates, number 10.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri. This is continuing the adventures of the Ultimates being domestic terrorists and doing their thing. In this case, they're doing some real good. They're killing Nazis. And that's always fun.
Yeah.
In this case, Camp is playing with the concept of, the Punisher and how toxic his brand is and what we can do with it. And so we see that the Ultimates are basically in the Ultimates history in this new Ultimate universe. Frank Castle was the Punisher in the 70s, where he belongs, or at least as far as these folks are concerned. But he was he did the thing. He killed people, and he waged a one-man war on crime, but maybe that was more complicated than his whole narrow focus could understand. And so as a result, his image was co-opted by the worst people, the kind of people that Frank would have come for. And so now in 2025, the Punisher logo has been co-opted into like a fascist neo-Nazi group of jerks who have their own little like camp, kind of like back in the day when they had these little group or camps where tanks would come in and set everybody on fire. So the Ultimates are like, all right, so Iron Lad is being fixed, and so let's just mess up some Nazis. Let's go. And the book is just kind of like Camp clearly like working out some stuff that he has issues with, and that's every issue, but that's okay, because like how could you argue? But yeah, so they break into the camp, they kick ass, they find out that like this group also killed, Namor died, and then they took his body and they put him up on the wall like a trophy. The idea being that like Namor can't decompose, maybe like the lichen within the water refused to eat him because he's the true king of Atlantis, that kind of thing.
Lichen are on trees.
You know what I'm talking about. The microscopic organisms, plankton and stuff. But, like the microscopic organisms in the ocean itself wouldn't consume him and stuff. And I'm like, he'd still decompose. It's not about that. But maybe he's just super dense, or maybe he'll just come back to life.
He's a mutant.
But maybe. But the idea being that he's up there and it's disrespectful.
Maybe you got Jeepers Creepers. Did
I don't.
You remember Jeepers Creepers?
Nope.
The movie?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember any of it.
Oh, never mind.
But so anyway, they go and they find out there's a new Red Skull, and every like couple of years there's a new Red Skull, and this one has like a voice modulator, and you could see who it was a mile away, but whatever. And eventually they have the big reveal at the end of who the Red Skull is, and since Wolverine is the Winter Soldier, you can only guess. And the team busts up the Nazis and saves the day and give Namor a proper burial.
Oh, at sea?
Yes, they put him back in the ocean so that he can come back to life later, maybe. I don't know. But also now, because the movies, Captain America is just like, Bucky, I got a new focus. I'm going to ruin everything to get him. And so, it's like fun story, great action. Most of the story, in fact, the entire story is told from the perspective of the Human Torch, not the Fantastic Four Human Torch.
No, the other one.
The robot.
Yes.
And apparently he killed Hitler and burned him like to bones.
Good.
And that was fun. And like talks about how he loves to replay it, in his head every once in a while. And I'm like, fair enough. I guess I would enjoy that too. So yeah.
Just like
like
you're watching it again.
That's
aren't
like,
you?
yeah, exactly. So they, there's like a little like Hickman-esque info page where we see kind of like the Torch's memories and reactions to it's just what he's thinking and where he is in his mind right now. That was cool.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, all right. Like,
yeah,
good use of Hammond, because you never see that character, and why not?
Right.
And it was interesting to see his analysis of everybody around him, and
so do you think it's like the fast-paced act? Because it feels like every issue of this, when you talk about it, has like a lot of fast-paced action.
It is, yes.
And so do you think that's what gets people so hyped for it? Because I feel like whenever you bring this up, like there's a lot of like excitement for it in the chat. Like people get very excited about it. And I am not being like, you shouldn't be excited about it. I am wondering that because, like, I'm reading Black Panther and I think it's really fun, but I know people are like, nothing's happening. It's like, no, things are happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not the things you think that should be happening.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's like Ultimates is filling in that like that excitement, that want for like the movement and action and excitement.
Yes. This book is always, where Ultimate Spider-Man is, except for the last 2 issues, working at a snail's pace, or Black Panther for that matter. The Ultimates is the antithesis to that, where like every issue, it's almost like there's a mandate, like something has to happen. And when it comes to comic book readers, what that typically translates into is there must be a big superhero fight in it. Like there's more issues of Ultimate Spider-Man where characters talk to each other than Spider-Man throws a punch.
Yeah, okay.
Bar none. With Ultimates, typically they are doing both. Everyone's talking and everybody's punching. And they are, but I
wonder if it's also the fact that it's like the old school, like, for your money, you get more heroes.
Yeah. Like the old days, like with the Justice League or a Fantastic Four comic book. Yeah, probably. I mean, you are like, getting these characters, but the other problem
is, if you're only buying Black Panther, it's like, yeah, you're going to get Black Panther and all of his characters and Storm.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like,
you're really getting his
that,
world,
right?
You're getting
and
the Black
Panther. And if you're buying X-Men, you're getting Peach Momoko's lens of X-Men. You're not getting Wolverine or anyone like that, or Storm even.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're buying Spider-Man, you're getting Spider-Man's cast of characters. End of story. But if you're buying Ultimates,
you're getting the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
And that's really why I don't love this series, but why I understand why everyone else does.
Right.
And it's because we're getting the deepest analyses, and nothing was more clear that was the marching orders than that Ultimate Secret Nick Fury issue,
right?
Where it was just like, oh, Hickman is not here, like he doesn't care. That's not what he's here for. Like he did the invasion thing. He cares about Maker and Spider-Man.
Right.
The rest of it he couldn't be here for. In fact, I got like $5 on the idea that he will never be back.
Right.
After he does, like, in 2 years and the Ultimate Universe does stuff, like he won't be there. But we're getting a lot of like behind the curtains info about like how things were formed and where this universe came from and where all these other characters are, and we're getting a lot of world building.
It's interesting
for the 1610 or the 6160 universe.
Right.
And it's mostly camp. Like Dennis Camp's ideas. No one else's. And occasionally Camp will like throw it to someone else, in as much as in this issue alone, Iron Lad will be looking at some screens, and one of them will be Black Panther. One of them was Ultimate X-Men. Another one was Spider-Man, which, by the way, was behind because Spidey and Green Goblin were like flying onto a roof. And I'm like, no, they're not. But, but that's as close as we're going to get. That's all happening. But I'm telling my story, and my story also is the universe you're reading all these other stories in.
Sure.
So I hope you're on board for Camp's vision.
Well, here's what's funny. it's weird because Camp's vision doesn't affect any of the things I'm reading.
Not at all.
And that's fine.
But like
And
that's so
fine.
weird. Like Camp is dictating the universe unless you're reading all these other books because they have no bearing on what he's doing.
It's interesting. I saw in our chat too, a few folks saying that it's like we're not reading it for the action, we're reading for the commentary. Well, if that's true, I hope you're also reading power fantasy, which has nothing to do with Marvel characters. But if you want commentary,
if you love superheroes and commentary and it being a little more subtle,
then I would go read that book for sure, because Kieran Gillen has something to say.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and that's a great series, and you want to get on the ground floor.
I'm
and
just
look
saying,
like a
if people are talking about loving
that.
commentary,
right?
Have at it.
If you truly do love it, and if you're loving the Ultimates because of how,
which you could be, and I am actually not saying you're not, but I'm also just giving you another recommendation for something that if you like commentary, go check that out too.
Yeah,
you might really dig it.
Yeah. So it's like, but like, by the way, and this may sound like I'm complaining or that it's like criticism.
No, I know you actually are enjoying this book.
No, I like it well enough, and I understand that, and I understand the commentary, and I actually appreciate it because it's so unpresent in other books. Like all the books I'm reading, like although it's actually kind of funny because like, I would normally say like, oh, you won't find that in Batman, but like Batman has actually been about like social commentary for a while.
Yeah.
But you certainly will never see it in a Spider-Man comic. But yeah, like this is doing a nice job, if not an unsubtle one, of giving you both, of being a contemporary book that is about the world outside your window through a lens of high fantasy action adventure schlock.
Yes.
And no complaints. It's just, but because I'm always thinking about like all of it, it's like it vexes me. So it's like, if you were only reading Ultimates, you might love this. You're probably gonna love it more than if you're reading all of it. Or if you're reading all of it, maybe you do love it because you love the fact that they're all so separate from each other, but also still part of the same universe. But also you're thinking like, oh, but it's also about anyway. I think,
what's funny is that like, I'm trying not to like meta read, because the meta read on it would be that obviously at some point these will have to come together and or end.
Yeah, there'll be an event, or Hickman will come back, or like, Maker will come back.
Normal comics where you could have books that are just running, which happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like regular universe Marvel, there could be an event happening and there's books over there that aren't part of the event and they're just telling their stories.
Absolutely.
Which is very much how this is running right now. I think it's just because it's like, we know that this is like a thing that was created, that something eventually is going to happen.
Yes.
So I'm like, that's fine. Like, it's totally fine. And by the way, I'm not detracting from Ultimates. It's actually the only book I'm not reading of the Ultimate line, which people are always like, how could you not be reading this one? This is clearly the one that matters the most. And I was like, I understand.
I don't think that's clear at all.
But I understand that from the perspective of like the meta read on it, where if like this is dictating the universe.
Yep.
Then that is the most important. I absolutely understand if that's the way that like you're looking at it. And I'm not saying you're wrong. For me, I'm looking at it from like the stories I care about the most. And it just happens to be the first few that launched.
Yeah.
Even the Wolverine Ultimate book, I'm kind of like on the fence about. Those first three that launched, I really, really just liked the creative teams on it. I liked the stories that they're telling.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'll never read the Ultimate. It's just right now, it's not what I'm looking for.
Well, and it's easy to jump in. It's easy to catch up. Like, it's not hard to just go like, oh, there's only 10 issues and they read fast as hell.
Right. I also want to shout out to the chat for all the folks who showed up, like, being how power fantasy is great. And
I know
some folks were saying that they're reading both Ultimates and power fantasy. Which I love that. I love that. But like, for those of you who aren't and you feel the same way as maybe some of our other members of the community about Ultimates who are now also reading power fantasy, go give it like the first issue or so. It's collected first trade is out for power fantasy.
Yeah.
And since it's an Image first trade, it's super cheap.
Yeah.
So
what's your book of the week?
Ooh, it's power fantasy. No, kidding.
Which isn't even coming out this week. So yeah.
I know. Dang, what is my book of the week?
It's one of these two.
No, I know. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one more book we didn't talk about.
Really?
Put it up there.
What is it?
Put it up there.
Oh. Yes, that's right.
Terminator number 5 came out this week. Written by 2 people, and then the backup written by Sal Corvelli with art by
Colin
Craker.
Yes.
And this is the end of Sal's, or Mr. Crivelli's backup in the Terminator universe.
That's
which
the
means
end.
that, again, you don't have to pick up issue 6 anymore. You're good.
Yes, if you were just buying it for me, you can stop buying this book now. But if you enjoyed it, I hope you liked the end, because it's over and I'm not gonna be doing more.
Exactly. There they are. It's fantastic, great backup.
Thank you.
Like, it's hard to write a 10-page story.
Yes, it is.
It's you don't have a lot of room.
Yeah, it's even harder to write 20 10-page stories, because you wrote one already.
Yes.
And it was all approved by editorial, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, for no good reason whatsoever, it was scrapped and replaced with something completely different.
100%. This is great. I loved your backup. I loved your pitch. I know you worked with notes from Dynamite on it.
Yes.
But you still made the story your own, and I appreciate the fact that you told not only the story that you ended up wanting to tell, but that you didn't feel like within it that like every single iota of everything needed to have an answer to it.
Mm-hmm.
I am this type of person who really likes things that are left open-ended. And you really gave yourself room here where like these characters ever to show up again, that more could be told about them instead of trying to cram it into 10 pages. I think you did a really smart, or made a smart move there in terms of being like, I'm going to introduce you to this. Here's a really like incredible fight sequence. Here's something we've never seen before, and it could be expanded on, but why waste like giving an answer to it in 10 pages when it wouldn't be very meaningful?
Well, that's the thing, is like, I always hated with like backups where it was just like, clearly it's like someone's opportunity. In this case, it was mine. But there's an impulse to put everything in there.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was very careful about, and this is very self-aggrandizing, so I do apologize.
No.
Like, one of the things I was careful about was I was like, I just want it to be cool and stand on its own, but not be as self-indulgent or self-aggrandizing as all that. Like, that's why I didn't put in a lot of onomatopoeias, and I didn't do a lot of 9-panel grids, and I didn't like want it to be about like something that meant everything. It was, I wanted it to be part of the saga that the series has seemingly been about, which is like to be vignettes and these kind of like one-offs, these moments within the idea being that like Skynet's like, I'm sending Terminators to all these places for all these different reasons, for all these different characters that are going to die.
Yep.
And it needs, and the headline from the creative force behind the entire book was bleak.
Yes.
Go bleak with it.
Yes.
I can't help but not be, but I did do my best. And there were some stories that were bleaker than others. There's 20 more Terminator books that could exist that are written by me that were darker than this. But this, I just wanted it to be kind of like entertaining, and like, especially knowing from the beginning that each 2-page block was going to be broken up between months, that, you should, it'll hopefully tease you enough to be like excited to see the next, or to see the culmination, or at least everything collected. So yeah, there was a lot of thought that went into it, even though it seems very like kind of simple and superficial.
No, I don't think it does. I'm like, and I think Colin did a really great job.
Oh, he's fantastic.
All right, I loved seeing the layouts, the little thumbnails, and I love how excited he was to draw it. And I think that in and of itself, just proves to you like that people were excited about the book.
Oh no, the one of the most incredible, if not unexpected, was the response to the book from the audience, especially from our audience.
Yes.
You guys were incredibly supportive and incredible champions of, if not the book, certainly me. And I do really appreciate the kindness, because that helps. It does help to get people, look, we have an audience, we have a platform. That's why I had the job. And I did audition, and if it didn't have any value, they wouldn't have approved it. But like, they wanted people to read it, and they wanted people to see it, and you did, and I think we succeeded.
Yes.
We certainly helped sell the book.
For sure.
You guys were key in that experience.
Not just key, you were it.
You were the folk who showed up and bought it, and we do really truly appreciate it. And I thank you for going on that journey with me and putting that kind of confidence in me. Yeah. That was humbling, and I truly do appreciate it.
Yeah. And I am like beyond proud of you for putting yourself out there like
thank
that,
you.
because I know you like writing and you like
I do.
but like
but ever since I got this job, no, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Ever since I got this job, I've been very reticent to merge those worlds, because I never wanted to imply that I do this for something else.
Yeah.
I love this job. I would never quit this job. This is something that I love doing. And sometimes I like it more than writing. And but I would hate to like shortchange myself and put me in a position where I'm like, no. Because I mean, when I mentioned that like the 5th issue was delayed, people were like, oh, the book that you're writing a Terminator book, they found out on the last issue. And, I feel like I was pretty forthcoming about
That's
that.
fine.
But I wouldn't want to, leave folk who were interested in that out.
Yeah.
So,
No, 100%. Yeah. I'm beyond like thrilled, and not just because of like your, meaningfulness to me, but also your importance to me.
Yeah.
Because like you did a good job.
Thank you.
You really did a good job with it. And like I said, like it's really not easy to tell a story within 10 comic book pages.
Yes.
Like that's not an easy task. And so like whenever you see vignettes collected, like when people have like a few pages, just know that like a lot of thought and effort went into it. And it's like if it, if you see something that like strikes you at all, it's like that took a lot for them to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I am so thrilled for you.
Thank you.
I am like so excited for whatever comes next for you. And but I'm glad that this exists in perpetuity.
Me
like
too.
This happened.
Yeah, it happened. It can't unhappen.
Yeah.
I hope it's in,
unless someone sends a Terminator back.
Right, exactly. I hope it's collected. If it is, that's great. And we'll let you know if what collection.
And if not, then
in.
I'm going to illegally print them and send them out.
Yeah, exactly. We certainly, yeah.
So that's why obviously my book of the week.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Terminator's your book of the week for real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Just the last 2 pages.
No, thanks. I guess I'll be over to Batman Full Moon. I picked the wrong book.
You gave it to Terminator as well.
There, Terminator as well. Batman Full Moon, because it tries to be something different, and it is, and it's successful. Even if it's not necessarily like, I wouldn't want to read this Batman month to month, like this character, this version of Batman. I would be interested in seeing his world every once in a while, but like it dares to be different or familiar.
Yeah.
But itself.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Totally
really
fair.
impressed with that. That's awesome. So yeah, there you go. Those were our books of the week.
Heck yeah.
So let's jump into some super chats.
I love that. I'm excited.
I love that too. Cool Shirt Kid says, I'm not caught up with the Ultimates. Does the new Red Skull also own a social media app like our reality? If he doesn't, he certainly uses it.
Oh, that's really good.
That's really good. Thank you very much for your support.
Holy says, you guys checked out Mothra, a Godzilla book? I shall geek out for an hour and a half.
That's how long the episode was. So thank you very much. Tea Time 480. Hello. Hope you're both well. I know this isn't exactly recent, but any thoughts on Rob Liefeld's comments about Marvel Studios? I mean, he always has comments about Marvel Studios. I think I don't remember what they are this week, but I remember him saying something like they don't care about comics or something. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I remember reading about it recently. Rob comes out of the, like the groundhog. He pops out, sees his shadow, and complains about Marvel, and then goes back, when a movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't listen to his show.
Matt Fisher says, hello, Dick and Barbara.
Thanks.
I am excited. TOS? For the end of As Bad. Will Ethan ever make his own physics show? Probably not. Well, maybe one day.
Yeah. If we haven't already, if it's not in the episode of the new podcast on this channel of me and the ComicPop crew,
yes,
it's a bonus scene that will be available one day if we open up memberships, but it is certainly available right now on Patreon.
Okay.
But there's a whole, if we don't remember that from the show, it was cut and it's in that thing. It's like a 10-minute conversation.
Until Todd McFarlane is allowed to direct a Spawn movie, make mine ComicPop. Well, thank you.
Yeah, that ain't never gonna happen. He also says, any chance of a Tick Spider-Man crossover? Great idea. It's certainly more possible than any other crossover because Tick is so independently owned. Like, he's owned by New England Comics technically, so Marvel would have to pen a deal with the store,
right? /
Ben Edlund. I would love it. Just one issue, 42 pages, drawn by Edlund. That'd be written and drawn by Edlund. Yeah, I would love that. That'd be amazing. Geek Embo says, Geek Bimbo says, hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Oh, Matt Fisher back to say, so now that you've done a Transformer episode, any chance we could get a G.I. Joe old or new episode?
Yeah, there's always a possibility, but I don't love G.I. Joe, so it's hard, you know. like the guys don't have a reverence for it. It's not like, oh my god, we're gonna be like, it would be like, they go, who's that, who's this, who, you know, and I don't really know or care. So it's tough. Bear Farmer, Atom Project is starting to feel like it's going to end the series on one of those Atoms going, I'll fix them at any cost, and they'll be villains. Probably. I'm not reading it, man. I'm sorry.
Space Cowboy EXE, it's been a while, but hope y'all are doing well, as always. Looking for a comic shop since mine closed recently. Don't know if you've been to Level Up Entertainment in South Jersey, but I'll miss it.
Oh, no. We're not in South Jersey very often, and when we are, we're rarely at a comic book store, but we've been to comic book stores down there. There's that like store that's almost like a comic book store on the Wildwood Boardwalk. And
yeah, that's not super helpful.
No, but there's one in Tom's River that we've been to that was pretty good. But that's not really South Jersey. That's Central Jersey. So I couldn't help you there. But it's tough. Yeah, it's tough out there, especially because, like, you know, a good store that's reliable is hard to find. I'm sorry to hear that your store closed.
Yeah, trying to find out where it was, get an idea. But
right, like what the region is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
That sucks though. Like losing your store though.
Oh my god.
Especially if you've been going for a while. Yeah. It becomes part of like the routine.
It's true. Brian Lewis 97, ComicPop Woo. Oh.
ComicPop Woo just wanted to give you both of you and the show some good vibes.
Thank you.
Good vibes, very kind vibes.
Yes.
Very kind vibes.
Very generous
Thank
vibes.
you. Thank you. Loving the Ultimate line. Have a wonderful episode.
We did.
Well, thank you so much.
It's going great.
We
so
got
far.
into the
Thank
Ultimates
you.
too.
We did.
So you know.
That's right. Thorn Identity says nothing good to say. Just woo finger guns, maybe. Got nothing. Nah, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. You don't have to say anything. We do appreciate it though.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show as always, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Bear Farmer saying Namor being a slab captured by Nazis hurt me a little bit.
Yeah.
They both suck, but it's weird to have a real thing beat up and contain your fantasy character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
That is kind of weird. You're right. Just being
says,
like, nah, this.
Right? Yeah. Cap, we have to save America from Nazis. Tony, Steve, no, we have to focus on the real threat. Takes a nap, wakes up, empty room. Steve overcomes. I found some Nazis. I love that. Yeah. By the way, we say Nazi because that's what they say, and I believe it's bed knobs and broomsticks.
Sure.
And it's just a way to
it's like a British affectation
because they're in charge now. Like it's hard to like say it without getting flagged.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be careful.
Eric Wu went to Seattle Comic-Con this weekend.
Nice.
Got some paperbacks, including highlights of your channel, 52,
Nice.
King in Black, and DWJ's Transformers.
Sweet.
Thanks for pointing me to great stories. Comic-Pop forever.
Thanks, Garrick Wu. Hope you had a good time at that show.
Yeah.
I heard some great stuff about that show. We've been there before.
Yes.
I do love it. And yeah.
I didn't realize like con season had already kicked off.
Yeah, I know. I was like, it really snuck up on me because I didn't even get a chance to think about going.
No,
it was a
just
shame.
There.
Yeah. Hey, remember we used to get invited to panels and stuff like that? That was fun.
No, I don't remember that.
We did. We were going to go to Emerald City. That was a big deal. That was, but not anymore. Typical Spider says, when you and James from Mr. Sunday Movies were discussing Jack Reacher as Batman, I couldn't stop thinking that man is Eddie Brock. He's great. He'd be great in that role, but sadly, we may never see another Venom. We'll see another Venom. It just won't necessarily. I don't know who's going to run it, but yes, he'd be a great Venom. He's huge. No, I agree. But I also think he'd be a good Batman. I've seen a couple of scenes from Jack Reacher, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's good.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd be fun.
Armed Armadillo says, what's next for Sal? Army of Darkness, RoboCop, Archie versus Terminator?
I'd write any of those. Are you kidding me? Although they did ask, like, they were like, is there anything you like or care about? I didn't have an Army of Darkness pitch, so I couldn't really come up with anything. RoboCop would be great, but, I don't have anything really right off the dome, but if they said, hey, here's something, I'd be like, yes.
Here's something.
Yeah.
Here's a thing for you.
Archie vs. Terminator writes itself. You kidding me?
It does.
Hayden Hamilton, any chance of Extremity by DWJ on the couch?
Yeah. I mean, I say yes. I feel like views say no.
Yeah, no. You guys would never show up for that. But it would be cool.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Here's my pitch to you. If you like Daniel Warren Johnson's work at all, like if you're like, oh my gosh, Beta Ray Bill. Oh my gosh, Dead Earth. Oh my gosh, Transformers. and you also liked Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, go check out Extremity.
Yeah, by Extremity.
Because like TWJ is like, I didn't reference that movie. I had not seen it. But like he's like, everybody keeps telling me this has that feel. And that's really what it is. It has that feel. So it's like, imagine like that story not told through the lens of Miyazaki, but instead through the lens of Daniel Warren Johnson.
And you're gonna be like, what? Yes, that's exactly what I want.
That was like my first introduction to Daniel Warren Johnson was through that book. That was the book that I was like, Sal, look at this guy. He's amazing. And you're like,
Yeah, I was like that. And then I saw Dead Earth and I'm like, oh my God!
You were like that. You're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. I couldn't care less. I didn't look at it really well. And then I read Dead Earth and I'm like, this is amazing, Tiffany. And
have you seen this guy? He's really good.
I'm like, that's the guy from the book I'm already enjoying.
Can you imagine walking up to Daniel Warren Johnson's table with no line? No one knows who he is. That was the first time I ever met him.
Yeah.
I walked up to him. I had my Extremity and I was like, would you sign this? He gave me a special cover.
A special sketch cover.
Yeah,
he's like, so you read it? You bought it? Here.
Yeah. Like no one like was at his table, which like blew.
They didn't
my
know he was.
mind.
He had not been well established.
Yes, but like such a genuine human being.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, like what a friendly guy. Like his art might look like, badass and hardcore, and like he probably is a badass, but like he's also like a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's like a really chill dude. It's remarkable. Check out his YouTube channel or watch him on this channel when he's on here. I should point out that on March 29th of Saturday, the last Saturday in March, I'm going to be at ZapCon in Wayne, New Jersey. So if you are interested, go to ZapCon. You can meet me, maybe Tiffany. We'll see what happens. It's Saturday. But I don't want to speak for anybody. So I was just like, I'll just go myself.
Nice. Okay.
But there'll be a panel at 2:00 and I'm going to sell some merch. So come on by and hang out. It'll be great.
Nice.
It's March 29th, Saturday. I think it starts at like 10. I don't remember.
Happy Mario Day.
Oh, yeah. Is today Mario Day?
Yeah, it's March 10.
Oh. Mario.
Yeah.
Nice. Happy Mario
I forgot. Day. I was like, what's March 10th?
That's funny.
Adam Fenhouse, thank you so much for your very kind super chat. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Mark Edwards Jr., it's very heartwarming to see how much you guys appreciate and love each other. Also, the Terminator backup was fantastic. Hope you were well. Thank you, Mark.
I agree.
Appreciate it.
I agree.
That's very kind of you.
RLC Comics says, as someone who got into JMS's ASM, and Bendis's New Avengers because of Sal, I'd really love to see more of both those series on back issues. Especially love to hear you guys talk about ASM 500 in particular.
Yeah, big time. Me too. I want to build up to that. I think that could be a whole issue. So we'll definitely talk about that. Episode, yeah. That issue will be a whole episode. Yes, that's true.
It is like a whole issue.
Yeah, it's like a whole issue of a book that I read. And in fact, there's more. But yes, I would love to do that. I got to get back into New Avengers. That'd be great. It's a great series. I loved it. Marvel, if you want to help yourself out, hire Bendis back and give him Amazing Spider-Man and New Avengers, and suddenly you'll sell more books. I believe that's true. Let's see here. A Secret Boss says, just reporting in. Enjoy your day. You too, A Secret Boss. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Matt Fisher coming back one more time saying, I'll be in India next week, so I love your pick of the week in advance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, for next week.
Yeah. Indeed. All right, let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week. What do you think you should check out?
And I'll try to guess what I think my pick of the week will be for next week.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. You pulled some out for me already.
I did. I'm going to recommend Absolute Superman number 5. Yes. I do enjoy the series, despite not being, just completely fawning over it all the time. I do like it, and it's definitely worth picking up. Transformers number 18. I haven't read it in a while, but I did have it on here. I'm sorry. Batman Dark Panthers number 4. This is a great book. Hayden Sherman. And Dan Waters.
Nice.
This is one of the best Batman books out there, so definitely read it. At least being currently sold. The Moon is Following Us number 7 is coming out. Definitely pick up that series if you haven't already. And there we go. Those are mine.
Yeah, I want to check it out really quickly. I know Namor number 8 is coming out. I think this is it.
That's it.
This is the last.
Everyone loves those 8-issue miniseries.
Yeah, but it's also 40 pages.
Oh, so it's almost like it was supposed to be 10.
I don't know.
We just went
whatever. Maybe it is 8. Maybe that's all he wanted to do.
Sure.
Hellhunters number 4 is coming out. I think this is the penultimate for this series. Man, Philip Kennedy Johnson really killing it on this book. Love it. And it's just this book came out of nowhere for me. I was like, wait, what?
Yes.
Do I love this? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, I do. 100%. I love that book so much. They can't be just okay. It feels like right now they are literally packing all of my favorite books into 2 weeks.
Yep.
And so then I have these these weeks where I'm like, and I will be reading what? Well, I mean, maybe I'll check out this. Who's writing it? J. Michael Straczynski is writing Nick Fury.
Who?
Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh,
it was hard because I know you didn't know what I was saying, but then
I wasn't aware. I don't know who that character is.
Is writing Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom.
All right.
Am I interested in that? I don't know.
I am.
Like, is that
right?
Is that a thing? I'm going
to read
check that out.
Damn it.
Damn it. I'm sure there's something I'm missing here as I'm just scrolling through quickly. Oh man, the latest issue of Zdarsky Comic News is coming out.
That's right. Tell your comic book store to order your copies of Zdarsky Comic News and tell them that they, it's meant to be given away for free, but they could charge for it. So
so they might. So we can't say that it's free, but like, man, it's hilarious. At least the covers are definitely hilarious.
Yep, it's all written and designed and made by him.
100%. 100%. It's just got like 100% more Zdarsky in it.
That's right.
Oh man, if you missed Bug Wars and you wanted to get another printing of it, it's going back to print.
Sweet.
That's that Jason Aaron Bug book where I was just like, what? And then by the end of it, I was like,
all right,
all right, Mr.
Aaron.
Mr. Aaron.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we go, a little bit of housekeeping. You can meet at least me, if not more members of the crew. Probably just me and Tiffany. We'll see. But on Saturday, March 29th at ZapCon in Wayne, New Jersey. If you want to know more,
we have game night the night before that.
I know. Go to zappcon.com to find out more, or at least find out the address and stuff. But yeah. Meet us there. Otherwise, hang out on youtube.com at ComicPop Plays to watch Tiffany play video games Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Also, twitch.tv/ComicPop if you are not a YouTube watcher, which I don't understand why you'd be here.
That's fine.
But if you prefer to get your gaming content on Twitch, it's over there. But it's simultaneously
especially if you want the drop. Like if you're playing Marvel Rivals and you want the drops, then like you're going to want to watch on Twitch. Because if your account is linked with your Marvel Rivals account, then just watch any stream that has drops enabled, and you can grab that.
That's true. That's true.
It's a great little freebie.
But yeah,
right now we're playing Marvel Rivals, and I really enjoy it. Yeah,
but make sure to subscribe over there, over at youtube.com at ComicPop Plays. I don't know why they did it like that. It's stupid, but
whatever.
All the links for everything we do are in the description of every video we make, so make sure to click down there.
For those of you who do watch, and you know that I've never played Iron Fist, I was forced to play Iron Fist the other day. They put out a new mode where it's like clone mode. And so it's essentially like your team picks one character based on votes. The other team picks a character based on votes. And that's the only characters you can play. And so it was Magneto and Iron Fist. And you can't be a Magneto when there's 6 Iron Fists coming at you. Folks, I'm going to pat myself on the back here for a second. Here we go. Played Iron Fist for the first time, literally ever. I got MVP and killed 56 people. That just tells you that is a broken character. Broken. There's nothing to do with me. Anyway, come hang out with me.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely check out that over there. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, click the bell for notifications so you know when we go live, which is typically Monday nights around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys next time with another episode. Stay tuned for more, of course, on this channel and on youtube.com/ComicPop and ComicPop Plays. Plenty more coming out this week, including a massive conclusion to a trilogy over on back issues this week. So check that out. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time here on another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody, and thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. We do appreciate it. And for the chat for being respectful. So long, everybody.
Bye.